The president has undergone an onslaught of a year and a half of a partisan investigation accusing him of somehow colluding with the Russians. So I think he's sensitive to that. But there's another aspect to the investigation that is a legitimate one, and that is saying, did Russians hack Hillary Clinton's emails? And so there's a legitimate aspect, and then there's a partisan aspect. And we all have now concluded and all understand that the investigation was started by partisans, James Clapper, John Brennan, who started the investigation at the behest of the Clinton campaign, who paid somebody in Russia to come up with a dossier. So really, it's funny that we keep talking about Trump and Russia, when in fact the only person actually known to pay Russian agents was Hillary Clinton, who paid a British spy, who then paid British agents for dirt on, concocted dirt on Trump.
I know we could go down that road again, but I still think the question remains,
we could go down that road, but we don't want to.
The American intelligence community under the bus. I still think that's a big question that people are asking, but we're going to have to leave it there, Senator.
One of the reasons.
It is an honor to be here with fellow patriots changing the world. Just like in 1776, when it was the United States of America that changed the entire status quo of being a human, where we said the individual human is independent and can be self-relying. We don't need a king or queen. We don't need an establishment. We don't need a government. We just need freedom. We just need me. We just need independence. Change the world. Change the world for good. Created the most wealth and prosperity the world's ever seen. And now here you are. You know, but the incredible thing about it is you would expect this perhaps from brainwashed sheeple that don't understand history because they were never taught it, so they don't even understand how good they have it because they have no perspective. But for people on television, people in the Democrat Party to go down that same thought pattern is alarming. Look at this clip. Again, and it's like, this is why I stand with Ron Paul and Rand Paul. This is why I'm so proud to be a patriot right now, because I know what history is going to say about these times. We are the people that will once again change the world for the good. Once again, say the average individual human can be self-reliant. We don't need a king. We don't need a government. You can do everything. That is America. You're free. You're independent. You're self-relying. And now they try to wash it all away. Look at how CBS News treats Rand Paul talking about Trump-Putin summit.
Listen, you've heard the avalanche of criticism and negativity, appalling, shameful, disgraceful, shocking. It's coming from all sides, and I'm wondering, you're here this morning, you're doing a cleanup on aisle 3?
Well, you know, I think we ought to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and decide whether or not we want to have conversations with even our adversaries. During the height of the Cold War, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, Kennedy had a direct line to Khrushchev, and I think the world is a safer and a much better place because we had that line of communication. We had ambassadors. Let me finish my question. If you're going to ask questions, let me finish.
All right, all right.
It was also I think, a good idea that we continue to have ambassadors and diplomatic relations with Russia, even though they are our adversaries.
Senator Paul, I don't think anybody would object to trying to have a good relationship with Russia. I think the problem is that he seemed to throw
Pause it right there. Is she serious? Did she? They're all demonizing Trump. They're all demonizing Putin. They're all demonizing Russia. They're saying Russia's the enemy. And then she's like, well, I don't think anybody wants to not have a good relationship with Russia. That's exactly what you're trying to do. This is... okay, go on.
Community under the bus while doing that. Is there a part of you that wishes? Is there a part of you that wishes?
I think that's incorrect. I think what you just said, that no one would object to him meeting with Putin. Every Democrat on Capitol Hill objected to him meeting with Putin.
Exactly, bingo.
Every neoconservative and warmonger on the right also objected to it. So yes, the vast majority of the foreign policy community, the bipartisan consensus, said you shouldn't meet with Putin. They also said he shouldn't meet with Kim. And this is an extraordinary thing about President Trump that should be lauded and not belittled, is that that he is willing to meet with adversaries to try to prevent us from having World War III.
Senator, you talked about the Cold War history.
They want a war with Russia.
What was distinct about both President Kennedy, you mentioned, and President Reagan was that they did two things. They both met with America's adversaries, and they were quite clear about America's moral view about the repression of both the Soviet Union and then subsequent to that, Russia now, which most people think is led by basically a dictator. What the president didn't do and is getting criticized for is he did not make that moral case. He basically said in the relationship between the two, both sides are at fault. That's the distinction here, not the whether to have the meeting. So what about that moral case?
But I don't think you're being fair to the president.
No, they never
so when
have been.
President Reagan met with Gorbachev, do you think he listed the litany of Soviet abuses from Stalin on in a one-to-one meeting? No, they were listed and recounted by other people in the administration. There have also been people within the Trump administration who have listed and recounted the human rights violations in Russia. But we also have to understand that we have to deal with the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. And if we're only going to talk to people who have perfect constitutional republics, we're going to have a very small audience, and we're going to have a lot of potential conflict with no outlet for diplomacy. So, no, I think the president did a good thing by meeting with Putin, and I think it's a mistake for people to try to turn this into a partisan, partisan escapade.
Senator, President Reagan called the Soviet Union the evil empire. Many of his most famous comments are calling out the Soviet Union on its moral shortcomings. So I think that comparison between President Reagan and President Trump is off a bit. But let me ask you this question. It has also been
that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They're comparing Russia to the Soviet Union. I mean, that's absurd.
Empire in a press conference with Gorbachev. He also sat down with Gorbachev, and we also had strategic arms limitations. So he actually did, while the rhetoric was strong, you actually might compare that to Trump's rhetoric with North Korea. It's been very strong, but he's been willing to sit down with him. I think there's actually some apt comparisons between Reagan and Trump on the diplomatic front.
The difference here is, Senator, that President Trump is not short about offering criticism to American allies, whether it's on the German gas deal or whether immigration is destroying
Paul to say Trump bad so much. They're just say Trump is bad. Just say he's bad, Rand. Just say it.
In a one-on-one interview, bends over backwards to say nice things about the Russians, and that robs him of an opportunity to make a clear moral case about the distinction between America, which has grown up and had a history of supporting freedom, and the Russian regime, which does not do so. And why not take that opportunity as an American president?
I think what this gets into is that the president has undergone an onslaught of a year and a half of a partisan investigation accusing him of somehow colluding with the Russians. So I think he's sensitive to that. But there's another aspect to the investigation that is a legitimate one, and that is saying, did Russians hack Hillary Clinton's emails? And so there's a legitimate aspect, and then there's a partisan aspect. And we all have now concluded and all understand that the investigation was started by partisans, James Clapper, John Brennan, who started the investigation at the behest of the Clinton campaign, who paid somebody in Russia to come up with a dossier. So really, it's funny that we keep talking about Trump and Russia, when in fact the only person actually known to pay Russian agents was Hillary Clinton, who paid a British spy, who then paid British agents for dirt on, concocted dirt on Trump.
I know we could go down that road again, but I still think the question remains,
we could go down that road, but we don't want to.
The American intelligence community under the bus. I still think that's a big question that people are asking, but we're going to have to leave it there, Senator.
One of the reasons for it is James Clapper's a known liar who's lied to Congress. So
so for someone who's for transparency, Senator, a lot of people were outraged that this meeting took place privately. I think that
you're an outrage.
As well, but we're going to have to leave it there. We appreciate you.
I'm sorry. We got Rand Paul on here. We were hoping that he would say that Trump is bad, and we pressed him on it, and for 5 minutes we tried to get him to say Trump bad, and he wouldn't say Trump bad. So sorry, Rand Paul, we have no interest in having you on air anymore. Sorry. Unless you want to say Trump bad, Rand. Do you want to say Trump bad? Oh, okay. You don't want to say Trump bad? Okay, sorry. Cut the segment. Cut him off. Cut him off. Cut him off. They're so deranged that they're comparing the Trump-Putin summit to Pearl Harbor. Do you know how offensive that is? And now you're seeing these stories. I can't even find them on my desk. It's fine. Where Trump, here it is. They're trying to say that Trump is walking back his statements, or he didn't go far enough with his statements with Putin. Here's the thing. Here's the subtleties and the nuance about Donald Trump that the media doesn't understand. See, Trump is so much smarter than them and he can see 5 moves ahead. So he knows how to play the chessboard. If Donald Trump would have lambasted Vladimir Putin during the Trump-Putin summit, if Donald Trump would have said, oh, yeah, they were hacking. They're really bad. They were hacking. They meddled. Oh, yeah. If he would have done that, the entire news cycle the next day would have been, look, President Trump admits Russia rigged the election. Look, President Trump admits that he won because of Russia. Look, President Trump admits his presidency is illegitimate. That would have been the narrative. That would have been the talking point. Instead, he knows that if he has a good relationship with Putin, the media will go off their rocker and just go completely psycho and compare it to Pearl Harbor. So Trump outsmarted you again, you anti-American scum.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
He goes to jail. He goes to jail. Lock him up.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Our team is always looking for new ways to improve our products. That's why we've created the newest version of a fan-favorite formula, the Real Red Pill Plus. The Real Red Pill Plus contains the powerful pregnenolone formula, now with an added energy boost. Now, you can support your heart, brain, and aging process with an added natural energy boost. The proprietary energy blend includes powerful ingredients like green tea extract, yerba mate leaf extract, and more. Paired with the powerful ingredients in the original Real Red Pill formula, the Real Red Pill has just what you need to support your body while getting the pick-me-up to get you through the day. The Real Red Pill Plus is a powerful investment into the future of your mind and body. Don't miss out on the all-new upgrade to your favorite product. Head to InfoWarsStore.com and get the Real Red Pill Plus today. Real Red Pill Plus is on sale now while supplies last.